Okay, we can move on to Kai Sotto if you want.
Yeah, and I could probably go talk about Sotto for a very long time, but I'll try to keep it short. I just think he's a super, super interesting guy, just a really weird player, and just watching him can be the most like fascinating thing, but also like the most frustrating. I remember especially against the game against Argentina. At times he just looks so bad defensively. Like the first like 3 plays of that game were just, Francisco Cafaro, or just the guards, or I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was Cafaro. Might have actually they went right at him with Cafaro just multiple times in a row, and he just got right past him or shot right over him and scored like every single time. I remember there was one play where Cafaro just beat him down the floor and got like an open layup. There was no real external reason for it. It was just in a straight line. Cafaro was just a lot faster and ran the floor harder, and he got an open layup. So stuff like that is really, really concerning. But what I always come back to with Sotto is, I've mentioned a few times in this pod, like just having guys who like really stand out in like a specific respect that, might lead you to believe in other things translating. And obviously Sotto is just super, super tall. But it's not only that, but he also has just some like maybe the best touch of anyone in the tournament. And he's also got, I was a little bit lower on his field going into this tournament than consensus seemed to be, but I was actually this time around pretty happy with how he looked as a passer. So all those things working together, I think, make him a pretty interesting offensive player, especially if he starts taking threes at a higher volume. I think that can translate really well. But some of the shot making from him, I was just really, really impressed with. Like he's not like fast, but kind of he obviously he's a decent threat to shoot, so he'll draw guys out to the perimeter at times, and he can obviously if it's another 5, he might be able to take them off the dribble a little bit, and then just the touch he has on floaters and some of these like fadeaway shots. Or I was just really, really impressed with. Like he had like this one-legged, like Dirk Nowitzki style fadeaway that was just absolute money, and just stuff like that really makes me interested in him, because I think stuff like that standing out at this level is important. But with these very impressive strengths, there are also a lot of weaknesses on the other end that just might be completely prohibitive to him ever being an effective player in the NBA, especially defensively. Because I guess the argument with him is it's a lot kind of like Bol, where he's just, especially if Sotto takes threes at a higher volume like Bol did, he's potential to be like a generational shooter for his position, I think, with the touch that he has and kind of the high release point. But defensively, he just doesn't move well at all. He doesn't play physical. And there's just a lot of concerns there. And obviously the argument with Bol was that like his standing reach is so big, you just maybe you can just like stick him around the rim and he can be some kind of deterrent there, maybe in like a zone defense or something. But even with Sotto, like he doesn't have Bol's wingspan. He's actually got pretty short arms, so he doesn't even have that going for him really. So it's just it's hard to see, but there is stuff there that I think, like, I'm going to continue watching him because I enjoy watching him. I think he's just a really fascinating player. But, I don't know. He's just complicated. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think with Sotto at this point, I think it's all flashes. And I don't think he has been able to put something consistently as a part of his game. So you have the 7'1" guy, like you said, really good touch, could potentially shoot, but he doesn't really shoot at this point consistently, except those flashes where you see him make tough shots. He could protect the rim, and he does at times, but the motor comes and goes. There's some passing from the high post, but that also comes and goes because he's able to make good decisions due to the attention he generates, but also at times he just throws bad passes. So I've been watching Sotto for like I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years right now, and I still don't really find something that he's, that I would say, okay, he's going to be able to do this at the NBA level, except for being really tall, and that kind of concerns me. I think the best thing for Sotto, and like I said, I never watched the league where he played in the Philippines, so I don't want to talk about the quality of a league that I never really watched. But I think Sotto needs to, really test himself in in a top league before he either makes the jump to the NBA draft or the NCAA. I think he really needs to get into a level of competition that might bring out the best of him, and just put himself versus other similarly talented and similarly sized players. The thing with Francisco Gaffaro from Argentina, I watched that too, and at times it's like Sotto is, I don't want to be harsh with this, but he seems like unprepared. Like if I wonder what would be from Sotto if he had, if he faced these types of rivals day in and day out, and instead of just playing, I think he plays in the college league in the Philippines. So he's making the move to Europe next year, or at least he has offers to. So it's going to be interesting to see there, because I think that's where he's going to be able to, really develop to make his skill set develop into something consistent. But for now, with Sotto, to me, it's all flashes.
Yeah. I think if he played, with like a Real Madrid's junior team or something, like I think that would be a really nice like film sample to have. I think he and Garuba next to each other would be really awesome to watch if that were to ever happen. I think they actually complement each other in a lot of ways. I mean, Garuba's just pretty much anyone, and he's going to complement pretty much anyone because he's just really, really good. But if that ever happened at some point, I would absolutely. I think that would be really valuable information. But yeah, and I mean, another thing that I think is worth noting is and I don't like to speculate about this kind of stuff that much because I'm not this isn't like my field by any means whatsoever. But with a guy like his size, and just I don't know, I think his gait might be a little problematic. I mean, especially when you see him run in the open floor, his knees barely come up at all, which is part of the reason why he's really slow getting down the court. So I just do wonder a little bit. We haven't seen it yet, but going down the road, is he going to be, is he going to stay healthy, or is that going to cause problems for him? I mean, that's, like I said, pure speculation and completely non-professional thought, but maybe it's worth bringing up because I do think just the way he moves is it's not super I don't know, it at times almost doesn't look like he's I mean how could you feel completely natural being that tall, but sometimes it really kind of sticks out to me that he just doesn't look comfortable with his height. So I mean, he obviously is super young, so that might be completely meaningless. I don't know anything, but I definitely did notice I think that's part of the reason why he's so slow down the court is he can't really get his legs up very high, it seems at times. But yeah, I don't know, just a really interesting player. We could talk about him for a long time, but I think we should probably move on to the next guy.
Yeah, one more thing about Sotto real quick, and we can start with starter. What I noticed about Sotto is that, and this is not a thing from him, this is a team scheme or a coach thing, he didn't really get as many shots or didn't get as many attention from his own teammates as he needed to. I think Sotto was clearly the best guy in that Philippines team, or clearly the more talented, or the guy that can really score points. And at times just teammates just looked off him and went into isolation moves and stuff where even at times where Sotto had good positioning down low. So a few times I saw Sotto, like, I don't like really comment on body language, but I saw him like, shaking his head and putting his head down where he didn't get the ball. And considering his talent and the amount of times a game where teammates look him off, I would understand that. So that's in part why I say that Sotto needs another context to really see where he can take his game to.
Yeah, and it's not only that like he didn't really get like the usage within that, like, I guess, team construct that you would want to see, but he's also naturally like kind of a deferential player who can kind of tend to overpass at times and turn down his own offense. And I think he, especially on a team like this where he's clearly far and away the most talented player, it would have been nice to see him just like, if they just absolutely just like hammered him down the other team's throats, like if he just like, I'm not suggesting he should have been like just an outright selfish player, but I do think he left a lot on the table offensively. I think there's probably more to him as a scorer than he's shown this far, and I mentioned that a little bit earlier with his touch and some of the tough shots he made. I think if he did get more usage, if his teammates looked for him a little bit more, and if he was a little bit less deferential, we might be having a little bit of a different discussion about him, as a future talent. But we haven't seen that yet, so that's still just projection. So, but yeah, let's just move on to Strother now.